Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Moza here. We're back for a review of Phase 2 of Footium's recent beta testing. At the moment, we are waiting on Season 3 getting started. When I am releasing this video today, you'll notice that there are playoffs happening to conclude Phase 2 that will result in Phase 3 starting with double the amount of people in there and the clubs having moved about. So for the first time, we'll have promotion and relegation tested fully, and hopefully, touchwood, all goes well, and coming next week or just about the week after, I can't remember the exact date, we'll be into Phase 3 and I will bring you more coverage of what it looks like and what changes have been implemented. But as of now, here are my thoughts on the recent beta testing that completed successfully. Unfortunately, not in a victory for yours truly though. So, first things first, the game itself, it works. The underlying match engine to Footium is relatively solid, which is good to see. It recognises the advantages and disadvantages of players in certain positions, of formation changes, of mentality. So you can choose defending, you can be general, or you can be attacking as your three mentalities. There are more of those to come, as well as more formations to come. We did have a few issues initially, and when they had only just added new formations. So basically there were some positions in there that didn't actually fit any formations. That has now been rectified. Other issues that we encountered were players not showing as fully natural in a position when they should have been. Again, that has been rectified. That's what testing's for, to find these little issues, these little niggles, and get them fixed. And so far it looks like the team's done a great job of that. But on the whole, looking through the match experience, it is a commentary based match at the moment, very reminiscent of early days Championship Manager. There will be a 2D engine coming at some point this year, hopefully not too far in the future, and I think that will be the biggest step forward that the guys can make to make Footium a really kind of interesting, captivating game. It needs that 2D in my opinion to really get up to the next level and to get people properly interested and invested in it. As of now though, the gameplay is still, it's rewarding when you do your research on an opponent. You look at the formation they play, you counter that formation, and it works. You feel that reward. On the flip side, it annoys you when it doesn't work. So it does have that inbuilt aspect of a football management game, a successful football management game, of getting you invested and getting you to care. So big plus point on that side of things. As it went along, and I actually did a lot of testing on it to see what worked, what didn't work, and I've came to realise a few things. So firstly, momentum in Footium is huge. When I got Penn City on a winning run, we went unbeaten, we had a couple of draws thrown in, we were almost unstoppable at that point. As soon as I changed the team up for fitness reasons, made basically a whole new starting 11, we got beat 4-0 and suddenly all that momentum was gone, and it was really, really hard to get back to where we were previously. So one of the key things when the game launches, assuming that doesn't change too much, will be when you get on a roll, making sure you rotate it cleverly to keep fitness at the right level but maintaining that momentum. That will be key to anyone in a championship chase in this game. Other things to consider. On the face of it, you might not realise this because in the game, and I believe this will be the way it is on full launch, you have overall ratings for defence, for midfield and for attack. That doesn't tell the whole story, because even if you're rated lower than an opponent, you can well have the advantage based on your formation. I was able to see that if you have 5-man midfield against a 3-man midfield, you have a great advantage there because of those 2 extra bodies. That's something to consider when you get into the game and when you're taking on opponents. Other things, mentality of the players themselves. So on the face of it, the player's overall rating does not tell the whole story. You can have a striker who's rated really highly overall but can't shoot and can't header. There's no point in playing that striker because they're not going to score any goals. Mentality has turned out to be a really, really key stat in the player info. So when you guys get into it and you'll see these stats laid out for you, make sure that you keep a close eye on that mentality rating. You do not want a team full of guys in the 20s or the 30s. For that, you need to have a couple of high character, high mentality players. It was most evident with a goalkeeper that I picked up initially. Looked decent on the face of it, made 1 save out of 10, conceded 9 out of 10 shots. His mentality was through the floor, it was awful. As soon as I got a similar keeper in with a much better mentality, problem was solved. Little wee heads up for you there, so keep an eye on that one. In terms of just generally the way the game looks and the way it plays, you'll notice that positions, similar to other football management games, you have green for if they're natural in a position, orange if they're competent but they're still not quite comfortable, and red they just shouldn't be playing there full stop. You can get away with a few guys shown as orange, assuming their ability level is up to that task, but you do not want to have too many guys out of the green, is what I've seen as well. I was still able to get success with 1 or 2 guys shown as orange that you're looking at maybe about 80 to 90% effectiveness compared to full effectiveness if they're green, but more than that, you're beginning to bring your team's level down and you're bringing your chances of victory down. So again, like most things will be in Footium, it will be a balance, and it is there to be found. One major problem that I found with the game, and thankfully the feedback I've given on this has been picked up and it has already been implemented into the latest build. Fitness really didn't play as much of a part as it should have done in the game. So you would have players starting at 95 to 100% fitness levels. It would maybe drop down to the late 80s at most. But game to game, even teams that had played the same 11 the whole way through, at the end they were down to about 60% fitness in the starting lineups. It didn't have enough of an effect for me. If you're playing against a team full of 60 and 70% fitness levels and you're of a similar rating, you'd expect to be winning that game and scoring more late on in games. That wasn't happening, but it will now happen, because now going into every game, player condition will drop more towards the 70% level. You'll be forced to rotate more, and all in all, it'll make for a more interesting experience, because it won't just be about that starting 11. It'll be about your squad, and it'll also be about how you manage that squad, how you rotate things, and how you keep your team in the same kind of vein of form. Talking about momentum earlier on, you'll need to make the right amount of changes, not go too heavy, not go too little, because if you don't make enough changes, fitness will come to tell and you will lose a game. If you make too many, you might lose that momentum. So it will be very, very interesting, and when Phase 3 beta comes through, to see how people approach that and how people find success with it. As with all betas, there were a few, let's just say, funny moments. Things that really shouldn't have happened that did happen. Case in point, when we first all logged in to Phase 2, we got our 20-man squads. Some of us had goalkeepers that could also play right wing back or centre back. Some of us had wingers that could play goalkeeper. It just didn't really make much sense. Some of us had outfield players that had really good goalkeeping stats. That has now been fixed, I'm told. So going forward, every team should start with out and out goalkeepers and outfield players. You might have one that's capable of filling in as a keeper, but they're not going to be anywhere near the standard of a proper full-on goalkeeper. So much more realistic and much more true to life. I believe it was an error that happened when they added in the new positions, and for whatever reason the game decided that some of them should be a backup keeper in their 4th choice position. So nice funny moment, but thankfully it's been fixed. The good news for what's coming next, if it is all put in place in time, is the new UI that is coming to Footium looks outstanding. As you'll notice from these screenshots and these videos that you're seeing behind me, the game was a very basic test build. This build here that we were playing on was basically day 1 of testing, and it hasn't changed since then. They've waited all this time to get the UI right. The hope is it will be in time for Phase 3. If not, it will be in just before full launch for a bit of testing beforehand, I'm sure. But it looks really good, it's clean, it's easy to understand, it's simple to navigate by the looks of things. I'll obviously show a couple of the screenshots here while you're watching this. But I am really looking forward to getting my hands on this. I have given some feedback about what I feel could be changed with certain screens and what would be easily kind of reachable, easy to click through to get to, just from a logic point of view. considering other football management games, but on the whole it looks really, really promising and I can't wait to give it a spin myself. So, overall review, having played a full season now of Footium, pretty positive. You've had a look at the game side of things, you've had a look at the tactics screen, the squads, the academy works really well with the 10 players coming through, the transfer market is there and ready to use as well, and we were mainly doing person to person transfers, not using the market. Towards the end of the beta testing, the market was up and it was functional, so that's good to see as well. All the building blocks are in place to have a really successful game. Not only are the mechanics all working, they also have the ability to grab you. Everyone was quite invested that was taking the chance to manage their team every day. Not everyone did log in, it must be said, to beta testing that was given the opportunity to. So phase 3 will be probably a higher uptake rate, I would think, because most people in phase 3 that are now joining the beta are people who have bought their clubs, who have been waiting patiently, who have registered to do this and are really keen to give it a go. So I imagine with a more active player base, you'll notice a lot more people talking about it, especially on social media, and hopefully it'll help on the feedback side of things as well to get more really quality not kind of hints and tips to the team as they work on this ahead of the late June release date that is still, and as far as I'm aware, it's still on course for its late June release. There'll probably be a phase 4 beta just before release, the way it's working, to test all the final changes to it. But I was impressed, I must admit. I was really impressed with the basic skeleton of the game is there, the framework is there. It obviously needs to be built on a little bit more complexity wise in terms of the match stats. Players are going to get more stats. You're going to see more information, more analytical information on the games themselves. Things like match ratings for players are coming in, things like minutes played stats, all those kind of things, so not just goals and assists. I had a few messages though that I gave to the guys in terms of long term. I feel that this game needs to be a real success, so I'll run through them. Obviously, if you guys have got any thoughts, if you were in the beta, if you're just about to join it, or if you're just considering getting into Footium, the prices of clubs are as low as they'll probably be right now, down at 0.18 ether as the time of recording. So based on what you've just seen here and what my thoughts, I would like to see long term the ability to follow clubs, to get news items about them. So not just your own clubs. If anyone manages in Sorare, for example, you can follow other clubs and keep an eye on what they're doing, what players they buy, and what their scores have been in any given game week. I would love to see that brought into Footium to build that kind of community side of things as well. An ability to either direct message other managers or to link your Discord profile on game, which I believe is on the way, because when it comes to transfers, again, using Sorare as an example, you might want to contact other managers to basically see what they're looking for a player, or if a player is potentially available. You can make bids on players that are not listed for transfer, I should also point out as well. So another really good thing that they've already built in to the engine itself. Little nice things. I wanted to see a history log of any improvements and dates. So say if you expand your stadium at any point, for example, to have a date and what you've done, and it will just give you a bit of backstory to your club, especially if you sell it on. The buyer will be able to see where it's came from, where they can take it to potentially, and what leagues it's been in during the whole time it's been active as well. It'd be nice to have little things like a Hall of Fame there that you could put your favourite players in from seasons past, so that even if they're not playing anymore, even if they do end up leaving the game, they will be there immortalised in some way. And finally, this one I think is a key one that must be added at some stage. A progress bar on any potential traits being added to your club. So the lore and the traits of clubs are dynamic in Footium. My club, Penn City, has a trait where it has very loyal fans who are quite loud, so they give their backing more than other fans would do to the team. If you want to get that for your team through doing things, firstly, there should be a progress bar showing you what you need to do, how close you are to it in a percentage term. and it should also be for bad traits as well as good. So you might want to avoid certain things, but there will be conditions to be met. Similar to if you've ever on FIFA and Ultimate Team done the challenges in there, and you can see the progress bar towards getting a certain player card, for example. It could say you're 60% along because if you lose 5 games in a row, you will gain the trait the fans tend to turn on the manager, for example, and you've had 3 losses in a row of the 5, do not get to the 5. That's one idea. Whereas that could be a red bar, for example, given it's a bad trait. For the neutral ones, it could be just a plain old white. For the positive ones, it could be green. So if you want your loyal fans, it could be 5 sellout crowds in a row. Suddenly, you've got 3 of 5 sellouts. Keep winning, the sellouts keep happening. You get that positive fan trait, you give a club a boost. Little things like that will give not just kind of the daily aim of winning your league game, or potentially if you've got a cup game as well, that will be obviously a certain factor to keep people coming back. But little achievable aims like that, especially for clubs in mid-table who they might not be in danger of relegation or promotion at the end of a season, they need something to come back to. Then they can focus on getting a good trait and giving themselves a boost for the year after. I think it's a no-brainer, personally, and I hope it comes in. So, if you have enjoyed this video, please do consider dropping a like. There's a subscribe button down there if you want to see more Footium and other crypto games content coming on the channel. If you have enjoyed the video or you've got any comments to make on anything I've brought up, anything you feel I've missed out that I might want to focus on, drop it in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. What are you looking forward to with Footium? What are your concerns with Footium, if you have any? I'm curious to hear the widest range of opinions possible from you. And finally, that little button there, the bell button, is there if you want to be alerted anytime I upload a video going forward. Expect these to come every Friday night going forward, usually about 6 PM British Standard Time, or British Summer Time as it is now. I'll get in a regular routine as soon as we're back into Phase 3 with Footium. I will also have a Sorare video coming shortly, talking about the Scottish Premier League being added to it, and a few other things thrown in, no doubt, as well. But I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. I hope this was useful. I hope if you are coming into Phase 3, you can let me know, and maybe we can keep tabs on each other's performance. Before I finish up, remember I do have my community club that on full release at the end of June I will be letting you guys manage, so everyone will take a couple of games each and we'll go from there. The link will be in the description for Ketra and Villa if you want to sign up. I know some of you have already and I will be in touch, thank you for that. But otherwise, I hope you have a cracking day, enjoy it, and I'll see you for the next one. Adios.